So in this episode, we're talking about discipline and responsibility. When Kathy and I talk to parents about this, there's really a lot of hope and anticipation because parents want to express effective discipline and they absolutely want their children to grow to be responsible. But the biggest pushback we hear is when parents say something like, I probably haven't been as good about discipline as I should have been, so how do I start now? And that is a really good and fair question. You might not be able to change everything overnight with your discipline, but you can begin to change yourself. Remember in the video I talked about the impact and the ineffectiveness of yelling? Well, this might be a great place to start. That when you find yourself getting exasperated and your default is to yell, put yourself in a little mini timeout. Seriously, walk away and come back when you're calm. When you do this, you're showing restraint, you're modeling wisdom, and you're helping your kids see that anger is okay. It's a normal emotion, but it doesn't have to be the fuel to start a fire. So Kathy, let's talk about some practical ways that you and I have experienced discipline and expressed discipline with our kids. And let's start with the whole theory of choosing your battle.
Yeah, that was number one for us. Choosing what things we were going to fight over. Because if we didn't make a choice, we could be choosing to battle all day, every day.
Because parents always have something to be mad about.
Right. What are we going to stand firm on and what are we going to just let go of? For us, we let go of clean bedrooms. We kind of gave that to our kids. We fought over it for a while. And then maybe we just lost that battle and we're trying to say we chose the battle. But we gave that up. We just thought this
Early on, go ahead, live
and shut your door.
And some parents hear that is going to drive them crazy. But for us, we decided you're going to figure it out. They all went to college. They had roommates. They had to figure it out. But we weren't going to battle over that. We didn't battle over long hair.
We didn't.
With our son.
Yes, and our son, I think, blames us for some of his 6th, 7th grade pictures. Why didn't you make me get a haircut? Because we didn't want to fight with you over that. It wasn't important to us. And so there are some things that I think also you have to choose your battle, and then you have to stand firm as a parent against other parents or against your own parents. That, even if my mom would have looked at our son weird, like, why is his hair so long, or questioned our decision on that, we could have said, it's just not something we want to fight about. It's his hair. He's going to look back and be embarrassed of those pictures, and we're fine with that.
That's
it's not
actually
something.
Such a gem. It's so brilliant that so many parents actually parent for the approval of other people and discipline for the approval of other people. And you were the one that really brought that saying, go, hey, who cares what they think? Yeah. These are our kids. We have to parent them, and we're gonna choose our battles, and we're not going to make that a battle. One that we did choose was kind of the sibling rivalry.
Sure.
That would trigger us when our kids would argue and fight, which is natural in any home, but we made a big deal out of that. When they were real little, I would make them hug it out.
Oh, so funny. After fights, they're so angry at each other, and an 8 and 9
they'd
year old.
have to hug and kiss on the lips, and that started early and went years.
Yeah.
But it was one of those things that we're going to make. This is something we're actually going to battle over.
For sure.
I think a big thing that we stumbled onto somehow is not only allowing them to experience a consequence, but having the consequence be articulate and defined ahead of time. If you discipline a child and they don't know what the consequence is, it doesn't seem fair. But if they have the consequence and they know it ahead of time, then actually they chose that, and that actually helps develop responsibility. You want to add to that?
Well, it seems a little bit counterintuitive to let your child help decide what the consequence is. It doesn't seem to make sense. But if they buy into it, if you've let them have some input, which I think is really fair for a child, because as a parent, I think that is the worst offense you can do. Say, be home late for curfew. That's horrible. I don't know if you're dead in the street and you've gotten in a car accident. I don't know what, my mind goes a million places. But for both, I think that, I would want to say, you put me in so much stress that I want you to stay home for the next 4 weekends.
Which is quick fix, default, anger.
Here's my reaction to my uncomfortable feeling. So instead of that, let's talk about it, because it's not okay for you to be home late. I'm sorry, you can't be home late. That's causes too much distress on the family. And so, but as we have a conversation, okay, the one weekend is more fair than you having to stay home for 6 straight weeks, or, whatever it is that I would really probably like to react to. So when they come home a bit after their curfew, I remember you used to just kind of smile and greet them at the door, and they knew they were home next weekend.
Glad you were safe, and bummer that you got to stay home with me and Mom.
Yeah.
And even though they helped create that consequence, it wasn't like they ever applauded me. Oh, Dad, thanks. What a great disciplinarian.
If we would have forgot about it, I'm sure they would have.
They wouldn't have said anything.
They wouldn't have held themselves.
Well, one of the other things that we kind of stacked hands on when it comes to discipline, we chose not to shame our kids. So we didn't yell at them. We didn't attack them from a distance. We would go and remove them from a situation, take them out of the room, take them away from their friends or other families, get on their eye level, and have a conversation about their behavior or what was going on.
It's so much easier to yell across the room when you see your kid doing something wrong, and just stay in your comfortable seat and just yell, "Hey, stop that," or whatever it is, and you're going to go to timeout. You know, they're 50 feet away.
If you want to see quick fix parenting, go to a McDonald's Playland and just watch from a distance, because you see quick fix parenting.
Yep.
Let's talk specifically about responsibility. One of the things that Kathy and I believe that when it comes to teaching kids to be responsible young adults is that they have to experience their consequences. Parents are so quick to save them, and even when they're little and they forget their lunch, what do we want to do?
We want to run it to them because they're going to starve to death if they don't have lunch, if they don't eat within a 4-hour period.
Yeah, just an aside, it takes about 40 days to actually starve to death, so they'll be fine. But if they are hungry at school and they experience the consequence of hunger, they might come home and go, oh, wait, it's not Mom's or Dad's responsibility to send me with lunch.
And chances are they're not going to forget a whole lot more times.
Yeah, but what we want to do, good parents, we want to save their day. We want to keep them from failure. We want to keep them from experiencing anything that might be negative.
Well, you know what? And homework even is one more extension of that, because it's another reflection of you. If my child looks like they're getting bad grades and forgetting their homework, it must be their parents are doing something wrong also. But we made our kids face the consequence. If you forget your homework, I'm not going to run it over to school also just to save your grades. You can suffer with a missed assignment or here and there if you forget. And they choose not to forget their homework so often.
Yeah. Discipline, responsibility, big issues. And I'm guessing that you've struggled to at least some degree with how to effectively discipline your kids and help them learn responsibility. And I can safely assume this because every parent we've ever talked to seems to struggle over these issues. So please hear this. You are not alone. We don't have easy answers to offer you, but that's okay because you're no longer a quick fix parent, right? You don't want easy answers. In the workbook, we encourage you to evaluate your own discipline issues, and we help you learn how to choose and prioritize your battles. And we also give you some ideas on how you can help your children develop responsibility. Discipline and responsibility, these aren't fun topics, but they're essential tools for any intentional parent. And I promise you, with some honest evaluation and effort, this gets easier and you will become a more effective parent.